Tonight's late stream was Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, okay, gonna be honest with everyone. Number one, the game is fine for a late night chill stream. It is. It has to be a late night chill stream. If I played this game as a daytime stream, it would kill the daytime stream, meaning I know there would be people who would complain about it, much like when I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Who were like, oh, this game's kind of boring and grindy. This game literally is worse when it comes to the grindiness than Rebirth was. You're in an open world and you're constantly fighting repetitive enemies. Every once in a while, you wander into a bigger enemy. And you have what's considered like a boss fight with big energy bars or whatever. Or health bars, I should say. Tonight I unlocked the warrior class, which is a way slow, lumbering attack class, but does big damage and has super armor. So it's very different than the fighter where I was able to be more nimble and stab weak points, but I was getting slapped around. In this case, I don't really get slapped around, but I can't really do the same kind of style of combat I was doing with the fighter. We ended up, half the stream ended up being like quests at the capital city, where you had to go sneak into the castle and investigate, go to a masquerade ball and talk to a bunch of people and find a secret passage and stuff like that. The second half we set out and we actually did do combat. We did the final hunting mission where we had to take out a group of enemies and then report back to the capital. And then the second, like the last half hour of the stream, I set off to the east to find this hidden city, supposedly. It's supposed to be called like a nameless village, and there's something to do with the plot there. And it was a little frustrating because it was hard to figure out how to get to it because the road was busted. But we did do it, and I actually fought a new enemy, the Minotaur, that I hadn't even seen in the game yet. So it was kind of neat. I had fun. I'll be honest, the attendance. We basically had like 200 real viewers, and we had about 150 trolls. What I mean by that is people that came into the chat with these new accounts, and they were just being stupid and toxic and complaining and being dumb. And, it is what it is. I think when I get a stream that's going to have lower attendance stuff, they're going to come in and do that now. I think this is a new thing. I don't know. It wasn't that annoying, but here I am. This is my third day, I should say. My fourth stream technically, but my third day playing Dragon's Dogma 2. A game that now I'm like 8-9 hours into, out of what? But probably going to be like a 60-hour playthrough? Maybe? I've heard the story is 20 to 30 hours, but if you do side content, it could be like 60 hours, right? Engagement was low. Support was almost non-existent. Okay? No exaggeration. And again, I'm not complaining. I had a decent day with Alone in the Dark, so it's not breaking anything. But, I think I can't even see. I made $5 in super chats. $5. I got no new members. I take that back. I got one new member, and I made $7 in tips. That was the stream. And it's like, so why? And I asked the chat, and they say, because the game sucks. That's some of the feedback I get. Because the game sucks. Well, it's all late night streams, and that's just false. It's not all late night streams. Last night, I did the Bully Retro React, and I considered that a slower stream compared to how we were doing with Heavy Rain. And that made like 5 times more than this stream did. Okay? It's too many RPGs. You're still playing RPGs. What? I just get all this different feedback. And it's like, so is it true? Do people just not like the game? I'm enjoying the game. I feel like I'm still in the early stages. Maybe long term I won't. The major complaints I've heard about the game is that the graphics aren't good enough. Well, tonight the game got patched. I turned off ray tracing and I turned off motion blur, and the game runs at a solid 30 frames per second now. It does. It doesn't dip it to single digits or fuck up. And the motion blur, without motion blur, you can actually tell what's going on a lot more often. So I liked that a lot more. I thought it was a big improvement. But the complaints I hear are the graphics aren't good. The game is too grindy because there's too much random encounter stuff in the world where you have to fight the same enemies over and over. And basically it's boring to watch because you have to run around everywhere. Okay? Those are the 3 things that I've heard as negatives about the game. I'm 9 hours in. So far, I'm not having a problem with that stuff. But I don't know if the audience is, right? I just don't know. It's hard to tell because some of the people who are here seem to be liking it, but those people don't particularly support the stream. I'm not complaining, but it's, again, it seems like it's another situation where it's going to be the same as Like a Dragon, where I played the game, I like it, so I want to keep playing it as a late night chill stream, but everyone complains about it. Oh, I don't like this game, and we're not going to support it, and I'll quit the game. Then why did I buy it? And why did people tell me they wanted to see it? And then I bought it, and the game actually now sucks. Don't play it anymore. I hate to say it. This is basically the mentality now of YouTube in general or Twitch in general. everyone just assumes the streamer can buy every game and then just play it for like a couple streams, see if it's good, and if it's no good, drop it and buy another game. I don't want to be buying 20 games a month and dropping every game back to 2 streams. I don't think there's anything wrong with Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm being honest. It's not the best game I've ever played, but it's fine. It's so far. Maybe it would get more tedious. Maybe it would get boring the further in we got. I'm certainly sure that most of the complaints online aren't made up about the game, but I haven't really experienced that stuff yet. So what happens with this game that now I'm playing it and it's like an insanely bad night for both engagement and support? I don't know. I don't get it. But the same exact thing was happening when I was playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Literally, we had a daytime stream, 3+ hours. Chat was not paying attention to the game. They were talking about completely unrelated topics, sports and shit, and zero support. I'm at the end of the stream. I'm like, so what gives? And everyone's like, yeah, the game sucks. I just think at this point in my audience, there is a stigma against RPGs because there were too many in a short period of time. I mean, think about it. We played Like a Dragon Gaiden, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. There was Sea of Stars in there, which I put on hiatus for a while, right? We're not playing it right now. Then there was, well, we were playing Baldur's Gate 3 all throughout that time frame. Then there was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and now there's Dragon's Dogma 2. And I think that's what's happened. It's too much of the same. Even though the games are different, I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 is similar to any of the other RPGs that people had issue with at all. But it was funny because someone actually said, so tomorrow you're going back to play Elden Ring, which we'll talk about in a second. I am. I'm playing Elden Ring again starting tomorrow. And they're like, well, Dragon's Dogma 2 is just a poor man's Elden Ring. And so because of that, people don't care about it. And I was like, I don't think it's a poor man's Elden Ring. I think what Capcom was trying to do, they wanted to take their successful Monster Hunter formula and combine it with some of the elements of Elden Ring to make a good game. And it's what's funny is the original Dragon's Dogma was not a ginormous seller for Capcom. It did okay. Then they put out the expansion. That did okay. And then over the years, as they re-released it on various, versions, then it did a little better, which is what prompted them to make a sequel. But that's exactly what it is. It's an open world formula of, say, Monster Hunter, climbing the monsters, stabbing their weak points, combined with some of the crypticness of Elden Ring. Not Elden Ring, Dark Souls is what I should say. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think when people have a choice and they're like, oh, well, I can just play a FromSoft game, or I can watch the Capcom attempt at a FromSoft game that, by the way, has a poor frame rate and all these shortcomings like having to walk everywhere. I'll watch the one that's the original, the name brand versus the generic knockoff, correct? And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm wondering what to do about it. Does this mean that essentially every time I play Dragon's Dogma 2, it's going to be just like when I was playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and everyone's going to say, well, this game sucks, we're not supporting it, stop playing RPGs? I don't know. What's funny is I have people who are asking me to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again, but it did horribly. It did just as bad as Dragon's Dogma 2 is doing right now, so why would I bring that back? It doesn't even make sense. People didn't show up, engage, or support with the Final Fantasy VII streams, which is why it's on hold right now. So why the hell would I bring those back knowingly when I'm playing another game? It's the same situation. It doesn't make any sense, right? So basically the way I see it is we're kind of between a rock and a hard place with RPGs right now. We really are. Like, it seems like no matter which one I play, they just don't do well. I'm happy we finished Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon. I thought, oh, this will freshen things up, so if we do play an RPG, it'll feel fresh and new. That's not happening. A game like Alone in the Dark that's very different is doing good, and then a game like Dragon's Dogma 2 is doing poorly. So what's the difference there? I mean, I would love feedback. What do you think? Are you just not into Dragon's Dogma 2? What are the reasons? Right? Was it just a one-off bad night? Because, I mean, the other night when we played it, it didn't do great, but it did way better than this. I don't know. And I don't know, should I continue to play it or not? All right? I am going to give it another shot. Here's my plans. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 2nd of April, we're bringing back Elden Ring. It's a way for me to get back into it and reaccumulate myself with the game way ahead of the DLC. This way I can finish up all the content that I want to do in the main game before the DLC hits, which is basically I kind of want to do everything but the Halley Tree, because I know the Halley Tree is so difficult, and I'm afraid that I would massively overlevel myself for the DLC. But then people are like, oh, the DLC scales, and I don't understand that because nothing in Elden Ring scaled. So I don't really get what that means. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's like Sekiro. I don't know what that means. I don't remember how Sekiro was. I guess it's a different system or something. But I definitely want to get back into Elden Ring now. If we can play it for like a month, and basically get to the point where I'm ready for the DLC. Like I'm right there at Moog's Palace, sitting there waiting. Perfect. And then we go on hold for a month. We don't continue playing it. We go back when the DLC comes out. That's perfect. The last thing I would want to do is rush to try to get there last minute before the DLC comes out. And now it's like Elden Ring for 2-3 weeks plus the DLC after. That's too much Elden Ring, right? It's too much overload. I don't want to do it all like that. I want to maybe play some now, take a break from it, and then go back to it when the DLC comes out in mid-June or whatever. So that's the plan. So tomorrow, returning to Elden Ring. Yes, it's the magic build that I did last year. We're going to try to reaccumulate, figure out what's next, start doing some stuff, get back into the swing of things. I'm probably going to die a million times and suck, but that's okay. And hopefully people will get back into Elden Ring, being a part of the content here again. Okay? Tomorrow night, I'm going to be playing the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection again for the first time in ages. I played it when it released weeks ago, and it didn't work at all. It was a flub, a big problem. Apparently, they've now patched it and fixed it. I want to give it a shot to see, does it work? Is it fun? Is it engaging for an audience? Would you like to watch it? Because you couldn't watch it, 3 weeks ago. It didn't work at all. But now if it works, that's great. So let's find out together, all right? So that's tomorrow. Tomorrow it's Elden Ring and the Battlefront Collection. Wednesday, which is my final consecutive streaming day this week, we're going to do more Alone in the Dark, which has been awesome. Can't wait to play more of it. And we're going to try Dragon's Dogma 2 again on the late stream and see what happens. All right? I'm feeling hopeful that hopefully the game will get an audience, that people will come and hang out and engage in support with it. But I don't know. It just seems like every major RPG, this has been the problem. Now, before you say, but wait a minute, Elden Ring's an RPG. I don't even see Elden Ring as an RPG. The whole FromSoft style of game is its own genre. It really is. Yes, it's a subdivision of RPGs, but it's not turn-based. It's hyper difficult. It brings in attention because people like to see me be challenged and smashed into paste, right? And it happens every time I play those games. Plus, it's timely to play it now to prepare for the DLC. I have to do it. I have to play it before then, so it makes sense. People will probably be interested to see me go back to it and see how I do and prepare for the DLC. So I don't think that will suffer from the same problems that we've been having with all other RPGs. But man, it seems like it doesn't matter if it's Final Fantasy, Dragon's Dogma, Like a Dragon. They're all suffering. I don't know what to do about it. So feedback, please. And I will talk about this on the podcast tomorrow. I hope you'll attend and we'll get some topics of discussion. I really need help to figure out, do I just not play any RPGs right now besides Elden Ring? Do I drop them all and give them like a wide berth and do completely different things? Because there's other games I could be playing. There's stuff that's come out on Game Pass. There's other things that I skipped. We could do other games, and I'm okay with that. But I want to know what people want. I was under the impression people wanted Dragon's Dogma 2. They had told me they wanted it, and here we are. Okay? Let's see how it goes. Give me feedback. I'll see you in the morning for the podcast, and we'll talk about it in more detail. Maybe I'll get a live audience to answer the question. Okay? Thank you guys. Have a good night. See you then. Bye-bye.